Welcome in, Big Blue Nation, to another episode of the Cats Talk podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Johnston, joined as always by my co-host, Jacob Waters. Guys, and if you're hearing a little audio trouble, I'm here in Morgantown at the Hope Coliseum after the Wildcats women's team just won against James Madison. But, Jake, that's not what you and I are here to talk about. You and I are here to talk about the heart attack that we had Friday afternoon, Kentucky versus Santa Clara. And you mentioned it as the Otega Owe game. Cats win 89-84. It takes overtime to beat the 10 seed, but here the Cats are. They're still dancing in March. And we've got some good, I don't know if it's good injury news, but injury news that breaks in the favor of the Cats. Give me the breakdown of what you're going through, because it was a heart attack central here.
Yeah, you're in a tough spot, Cam. We got some noise, but you know what? We're powering through. We come here to give the Kentucky fans what they want to hear, and for some reason that's us blabbering. But no, I was going through all the emotions like any fan yesterday, man. I texted you right away. The Otega Owe legacy game, not just obviously the near half court shot to force overtime, but countless plays down the stretch, 35-8, and then 7 assists as well to go along with it. Like the most complete, especially the second half and overtime, like the most kind of complete game we've seen out of Otega. It wasn't obviously just the, shot at the buzzer. The shot he hit right before that spin into the defender and laid it in. Like everything about this game, you were seeing the Otega where everything is just clicking and kind of what we had searched for and hoped for. And then you get huge contributions from, Mohammed Diabate. And then if Otega doesn't have 35 and 8 and 7, we're probably talking about it being the Brandon Garrison game with how he was all over the place. So emotions were high, man. It was a fun one. And I'm still in shock that we're playing tomorrow, but here we are.
It was extremely fun. Very nerve-wracking. I mean, there was a couple of times in that game where they got it to 5-7 point lead, and you're just like, oh man, let's go ahead and let's break this open, let's bust it open. But that's something you and I have gone back and forth on. This team just hasn't been able to do. And to Santa Clara's credit, it felt like every time we started to put our pedal to the metal there, they just knocked down a clutch three or had a putback, something of that nature, to just keep themselves right in the game. But I do want to keep talking about Otega Owe, because 3 minutes that we're here is not enough. This guy, I've gotten to the point where I have to tell myself there's going to be 10 minutes where I can absolutely not stand Otega Owe the way he plays in a game. But then there's going to be 30 minutes where I'm like, good Lord, this guy is just on another planet. And the 30 minutes that you got of him where he was completely outstanding, you saw 35 points, 8 boards, 7 assists. And a lot of those were just like, you mentioned it, probably the tougher of the two shots, the spin, and then I thought he got fouled, honestly. Yeah. I thought there was some contact there. I'm not going to complain about officiating, because I do think we were the benefactor of maybe a couple calls down the stretch. This guy has been incredible, and I'm hoping this is something that continues, obviously, Sunday against Iowa State. I, for one, think I've probably taken Otega for granted at some points. And it's games like this where you see how he just puts this team on his back and just carries them like a limping dog to a win. And I'm incredibly grateful that I got to watch that, because that was one of my all-time favorite memories. Just the race of emotions from, oh, we just tied it up. And you know us, Jake, as soon as we tie it up, we're thinking like, oh no, is this about to be like Luke May? Like, is this what's going to happen? And then Alan Graves hits that shot, and you're like, man, here we go. There's only 2 seconds left. Clock maybe starts a little later than it should have. I'm not sure. But guess what?
Complaining.
I'm not going to complain. And Otega banks it in from 35 feet. Here you and I are still talking another day.
Yeah. I mean, he was phenomenal, man. And you mentioned it, like, there's a lot of fans, and I'm even going to throw you under the bus a little bit of, like, not the biggest Otega fans. And, I feel like at times he's taken some unfair criticism, but like at some point.
Wait a second. The criticism that I always give Otega especially.
We don't need to talk about this on a day like today, Cam. We don't need to talk about his
No.
flaws.
We
Let's
got to
move
talk
on.
about it because
No,
you just try
let's
to bring
brush
it up
over.
there. What I got to say real quick is the only problem I have with Otega is the shot selection during, and like I said, that 10-minute span of a game for whatever reason, and that was the first half of this one. He was what 3 of 11 in the first half. I think I have reason to complain on a half like that, but again, he just had 35 and hit the game tying shot. So
Yeah, you see he can do stuff on the court that honestly nobody else on this team can do. And whether it's the ability to get downhill, I don't know what his exact percentage over the last month is, but it feels like when he is open, he's knocking down the three as well, at least at a reasonable clip that doesn't give you skepticism of him shooting like we felt back in November. But man, just also like the clutch shooting. Like we talk about Colin Chandler and rightfully so, but like going back to the 2 Oklahoma games last year, there's been others where Otega just makes a bucket down the stretch, and he did it twice in this one. You're thinking you're hopefully good to get it to overtime, and he has to come back and do it again. Like he's just a gamer, man. And even on one of those games where we're pulling our hair out and he's 5 of 11 or 5 of 12 and can't make anything, if there's 10 seconds left and you're down a point or two, I still have faith in him to get his head down, get to the rim, and make a basket. And regardless of what his percentage is, how he's played throughout the game, I think that's just the kind of player he is. But I mean, he put him on his back offensively, especially down the stretch of regulation. You are muted, Cam. This is a new world for you.
This is a new world for me. I don't like muting myself, Jake. I don't like it. I like to hear myself talk every now and again. But I sent you a graphic from CBS Sports of
Yep.
Otega Owe on potential game tying / go ahead field goal attempts in the final minute during his Kentucky career. He's 7 for 8 in the final minute in that situation.
That's
incredible. That's ridiculous, and that's something we obviously we're going to talk about more in depth. But I want to start talking about the other guys because this is going to be a little bit of a shorter podcast due to the fact that I'm in Morgantown and this PA guy keeps screaming over the top of his lungs. But I want to talk about the other guys that helped you in this game because we've talked about it, and probably maybe even too much so. You need Denzel and Otega to step up and have their normal games, which is basically both of them have to combine for like 35 to 45. You got to get something in that range from both of them. I'm starting to expect that. What you need is that third guy and a fourth guy to step up game in and game out. We thought for a while it was going to be Colin Chandler being that consistent third guy to step up. Hasn't been that as of late, but here we are. This time it was Brandon Garrison and Mohammed Diabate. Jake, you're talking about a guy hitting open threes.
Oh, I know.
Diabate.
I told people are whispering. I texted you right after Mo made that one and as a joke, but I mean the last 2 times we've seen him on the floor, he's knocked down 3 of his 4 open threes. So I take it. But yeah, I'm with you. And like back to the point of Denzel real quick, it's like he had 16 and I feel like it was like the quietest 16 ever. I mean, he had the one big 3 there in overtime, but like outside of that, I didn't really like remember a lot coming from him. And I mean, we're going on 2 months of talking about it now, but it just shows the growth of him as a player. Like again, back in December, if he had 16 in a game, we'd be talking about this is the best performance he's put on the court. And just countless times now, like this is just what you kind of know you're going to get from him. And he has the ability to kind of have a couple stretches where he takes over, but to just kind of know you're going to get anywhere from 15 to 18 out of him on every single night out. And then if you have a big Otega game and then another guy steps up, like it's huge. Like we've talked about it for a while now, but he's become the most consistent player on this team. And then, I said I thought Mo would have a big game in this one. He clearly did. But back to BG, man. Malachi, I think it is just a little bit of that freshman wall. But Garrison is giving you everything and then some of what you need from him. I mean, the blocks, the hustle there in overtime, back-to-back rebounds, gets one, falling into the bench. Like, it's all the stuff that we had begged for 2 years here of Garrison to do. It's like, we don't need you to kind of be this great offensive threat. Like, just, you're so athletic, play with energy. The points will come, find rebounds, get blocks. And over the last 3 weeks, really, he's done it. I mean, there was never a world I would have thought I wanted him back next year, but like, now I'm to a point where there's a world, if you're going to tell me I get this energy of Brandon Garrison, I don't know if he's ever going to be like a starter in this league, but I think this energy is perfect for 20 to 25 minutes a game.
And the part that I love about what BG's doing right now is this hasn't been the traditional Brandon Garrison show up for a game, disappear for two.
Yep.
He's done this consistently over the past 3, maybe even 4 weeks, if you want to go back far enough. And really, ever since that initial Oklahoma game where he got that double-double, since he had that, he's been a different player, and the energy and the excitement level that he's brought this team, you see it. Like 6 blocks. Like, I've never thought of Brandon Garrison as a rim threat like that. Mohammed Diabate
Guarding on the perimeter too.
Add you 3. That's what I'm saying. And that's always why you and I have gotten so frustrated at him. You see the natural athlete that's there, the fluidity that he can play with side to side and guarding and switching on some of those guys. And that's why we've been so frustrated. And then he comes out and he has a game like this where he has 7 rebounds in 25 minutes and gets you 6 blocks. And he's like, if Otega doesn't pull up from 35 feet and bank it off the rim, and he just has a cool 32 points without the like overtime buzzer beater, we're sitting here probably talking about Brandon Garrison for the first 15 minutes as opposed to Otega Owe, because that's just what Otega does. But back to Denzel before we kind of just skip over him here, because you had mentioned a lot on him. I just want to talk about him just here for a second. First off, KSR just asked Clara Strack if she gave him any advice and vice versa. Boy, her face turned like Cincinnati Reds red, and she didn't have too much of an answer. But Coach Kenny Brooks did say that she was a lot better than Denzel. So, here we are. This game, and it's crazy for a guy to hit 4 threes, and you don't really remember that many of them. He had one, that clutch
one. A big one in overtime, yeah.
He had that one, but outside of that, it didn't feel like Denzel was too much of a threat. But in this game, he's even in the games that he's not himself, or he's not clicking on all cylinders, he's getting 16 points.
Yeah,
and that's something that we need from Colin Chandler. So they see this from Denzel game in and game out. That's amazing, because in this one he actually wasn't able to facilitate all that well. Otega actually shouldered a lot of that, but Denzel with only 1 assist. But I kind of want to pivot here now to Mohammed Diabate. He's the last guy that I think really showed up for this team that hasn't gotten his flowers yet. 17 points on 8 shots. Just that stat in general is crazy. You go 4 or 4 from the line. 2 of those were huge. At a big time, he knocked them down. 8 boards, 3 blocks, and a steal. Those 2 in particular, Brandon Garrison and Mohammed Diabate, you mentioned it about BG. Like, hey, man, this is what we want from you. We want this energy from you all the time. And remember, there was a spot early in the season where you wanted that from Mohammed Diabate right before he got benched. You're like, dude, what happened to that guy from Alabama that was always the effort guy?
Yep.
Right now you got both guys playing like effort guys, and you're seeing how much that effort goes in a game like this. They were both huge, combined for 27 points and 9 blocks.
Yeah, Mo's been another one. Like, I feel like we keep talking about the same things over and over again, but it's because they continue to do it. Like, to get from the guy that we saw prior to the Missouri game back in January, like, to now, like, you're really seeing him comfortable in his role, and he doesn't force things a whole lot. I know every once in a while he still puts his head down and just goes to the rim no matter what, but like, it feels like that's less and less. When he's open, knocking down threes here and there. He's just continued to get better throughout the entire season, and he's a guy that I feel like over the last 3 weeks, he's probably going to give you roughly 10 points, and then he's got the energy to go along with it, and he's always going to go grab your rebounds and, even block a couple shots. And it's like, to add him finishing around the basket, which wasn't something we saw earlier in the year, he really has kind of turned into that third or fourth option that you're talking about. Because like you said, you know what you're going to get from Denzel and Otega. You would like Colin to maybe step into that third role, but like if he's not, I feel pretty good that you're going to get 10-ish points, if not more, from Mo at this point. And then if you can continue to get this level of effort from BG, there's going to be a game, hopefully, that Colin can go out there and knock down 4 or 5 threes, and next thing you know, you're looking at this team and you're like, wow. So obviously we're in a 1-game season from here on out, but if you do get that kind of shooting from Colin, and you survived the 1 of 9 game from Colin Chandler, and I think that is a testament to guys like Brandon Garrison and Mo Diabate to step up there.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to bring to you. Honestly, I like this team better when it is a 1-game season than it is the full 36, however many games we end up playing. I think this team's better suited for that, just 1-game playoff. Go for it and see where the ball rolls. Because if you 1 of 9 shooting from Colin Chandler, and it's not like these were, we've been talking about maybe getting to a point where the offense is so stale that you want Colin to force up shots. These were all open and in the flow of the offense, and he just wasn't hitting them.
Yeah.
So to think like we can put up 89 points, Santa Clara is not a great defensive team, but to think you can put up 89 with Colin Chandler scoring 5 points and actually taking 10 shots and getting 3 points from Malachi and none from Yelovich, I don't want to say I'll take it because, I want this team to be playing a lot better, but I think at least with Colin right now, I think the 3-point shot isn't falling, and I don't know if that's something that is kind of just lingering around right now, if that's the ball change, whatever it is. Because if you remember last year in the tournament, he shot really well. So I'm not going to blame the basketball because I think the basketball might be something he's well suited for. But he's adding auxiliary numbers to help you out as well. Like he got 5 assists in this game, threw in a block as well, got 2 steals. He's at least making his presence felt outside of just being a 3-point shooter. And I think that paid a lot of dividends in this one.
Yeah, there would have been a time if he was 1 for 9, you feel like you can't play him if he's not making open shots. I think, he was definitely one of the guys that still should have been on the floor regardless of how he was shooting the basketball on Friday. This whole game, I mean, it was kind of like we talked about, like we thought Kentucky didn't have to shoot the 3 very well. Like you just get downhill, get in the paint, and use your size, athleticism to beat Santa Clara. And to start the game, it felt like they really did that. They were forcing the ball down low, whether, once it was Mo subbed in or even for a little bit early, it was Malachi until, things just kind of fell apart for him, especially defensively. But then for whatever reason, the game plan went away from that. And that's when you saw Santa Clara kind of make that run there in the end of the second half. But, down the stretch, that's kind of what they got back to. And you used your physical presence to grab those additional rebounds and get extra shots. But, you're probably not going to be able to do that against Iowa State. But regardless, it's kind of like we've talked about, like, man, at this point, it's just win. If there's a game where you have to come out and make a bunch of threes to win, if they find a way to do it, great. If this is a game where it's all about getting downhill and getting to the basket, just whatever they have to do. I don't care if every game the rest of the season you have to throw up a 35-footer at the buzzer. Like, as long as you're finding ways to win, it's all that matters.
Jake, they could win by scoring 35 points on A.
Exactly.
A win is a win. I do want to bring up some of the other guys because I do think we've mentioned the guys that you got big contributions from. I do think to be the team as good as Iowa State is, you're going to need more from. I mean, think about this. From your other 3 starters, you got to combine 8 points.
Yeah.
And then 2 of your other bench guys, another 3 points. So between 5 guys that you play a good amount of minutes, you got to combine 8 points between that group. I don't think we can slot in BG and Mo to have 27 per game
Probably not.
between the two of them. You gotta. I'm not saying you have to find Malachi a lot more shots because right now I'm not sure if it is him hitting the freshman wall, if it's confidence is just starting to lack because you're talking about now you're a freshman facing like the best of the best. When you were facing in the SEC, you could still get by with playing some guys who just weren't at an elite level. Here he's facing good quality NCAA players, and he got exposed the entire game. And I don't want to talk bad about Malachi because he's had a terrific season and he's done more than I think we expected him to. I'm not saying to make a change with the starting lineup or anything, but I wouldn't mind seeing him be that first guy pulled because I think we're at the point now where it's usually Yelovich is the first guy pulled. I wouldn't mind if that started to flip to Malachi.
Yeah, he struggled yesterday, especially on the defensive side of the ball. There were multiple times, especially in the first half, where they were just, you text me and said they were picking on him, and they absolutely were. And then even the three that Graves hit, if you watch it, I mean, that was all because Malachi decided to come help for some reason in a position where he didn't have to help. I don't think the guy had a step on it. I don't remember if it was Denzel or Otega, but like there was no reason for him to leave a 3-point shooter in that situation. And, it led to that would have been the number one thing we were talking about if it wasn't for Otega is, just a brain fart there at the worst time. But, I'm with you. I'm not saying bench him. He's been terrific for whatever reason. I think you're starting to see some of his limitations, especially defensively, and teams are starting to exploit that. But I feel like we've said it for a while now. You need one of just him or BG to show up. Like, it's very rare you're going to have games where they both are, but it's just kind of to the point, whichever one of them is playing their best basketball and you find that out in the first 10-ish minutes of the game, like roll with that one for, I'm not saying the whole game, but like that should be the one that gets 25 minutes and the other one gets 15. And I think that's just how it's going to be from here on out. You just try to figure out which one's better suited for that particular game.
Yeah, could you imagine a time where I would have told you, hey, Brandon Garrison's going to get 25 minutes in the first round of
I would
March
have lost my mind.
and Malachi Moreno is only going to play 20, and Yelovich is going to play 13.
I would have thought that would have been the reason we lost, and it was almost the reason we won. It was pretty much the reason we won.
And, we've used this term a lot, but the roller coaster.
Yep.
And each player on this team has had a roller coaster ride just in and of itself. Malachi's on the downswing here now. I think you need more from Cam Williams. I think, that three that he hit was massive, and it was at a huge spot. And, you had talked about it. It was a deep three, too.
Yep.
Cam has this look in his eyes when he's making it. And when he's got that look, I want him to shoot it from wherever he can because he talks about how he taught Otega how to shoot like that with the half-court shot that he made. If he's going to play 10 minutes, and there might be games like this Iowa State, if his foot is feeling healthy and he has the conditioning to go back and forth, a team that's as quick as Iowa State, that might be a game you want to see, test him early to see if he's got that capability to guard these guys on the perimeter because it looked like he was struggling a little bit with that in this game. But I think if you can get Cam I think even if he's only playing 10 minutes, I think I at least want, 3 shots minimum? Yep. I don't think one shot every 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I would like to see more out of him and, continue to find him looks. I just think the way this year's gone, man, is I fully do think you talk about one of them stepping up. Like, I think just every game we're not going to know outside of Otega and Denzel, like who it's going to be. But if you tell me two other guys find a way to step up, at the end of the day, I don't really care who it is. If you tell me, this game it's going to be Yelovich and Cam or Yelovich and Colin, like I'll take it because of kind of how consistent we've gotten with obviously Oweh, but now Denzel as well.
Yeah, that's what I hit with at the beginning of this, was just saying it's all about just getting that third and fourth guy to step up.
Yep.
And whoever it is, we just need somebody to. And you mentioned we don't care who it is, how they get it done, what they got to do to get it done, as long as they can do it for this team to win. And people are going to look at Yelovich's numbers. They're going to see a Busey scoring. I want to say this guy provided really good minutes. 7 rebounds in 13 minutes, 2 of which were offensive, and then he got you 3 assists as well. 13 minutes with how great Mohammed Diabate and Brandon Garrison were playing in this game. I'm not going to complain. But I will say I would like for him to get more shots. And again, there's only so many shots I can get. So we keep saying more shots for people. It's got to come from somewhere else too. So if Otega's hitting like he was at the end of the second half, hopefully I don't need him to get more shots. But I do think it was worth a shout to say Yelovich gave you a really good 13 minutes in a way that, we're not usually used to saying. Normally, if he's giving you good minutes, it's him scoring or him facilitating. In this game, it was him crashing the glass, getting second chance opportunities for guys, and then, making the most out of that.
Yeah, definitely. And again, like, he's another guy that just, I feel like we kind of think this with everybody. Maybe it's just because the inconsistencies that we've seen out of everybody besides the 2 guards. But, like, it would not surprise me if, we're on here next week talking about how against Iowa State he had 10 points, knocked down 2 threes, and had 8 boards and was a huge contributor to you winning this game. So I think it's just, again, like, we've gotten on Pope for, like, the rotation, but, like, I do kind of think, especially at this point, you almost just got to figure it out early. But, like, I think it's just kind of a night-by-night thing. And, that's not necessarily where you want to be in March, but I think that's the hand he's dealt with. And if it's Mo, it's Mo. Great, let him play the majority of the minutes. If Yelovich is hot, you ride with it.
And speaking of Mark Pope, their reactions on the sideline at the end,
Great.
Seeing the heartbreak of Graves hitting that, and then the immediate, like, oh, man, like, you can just see realization hitting their face, and then Otega's coming down, and it's like, oh, shit, he made that.
I think that was all of us.
Oh, wow.
I think that summed it up pretty well.
I don't know if you saw the pictures of, like, or the videos of, like, his daughters are, like, right behind him, and you can see, like, them losing it. It's such a cool, like, family moment. I do want to talk about that. Iowa State. That's where we're at now.
I'm ready.
Play Sunday. 2:45, correct? That's the official time? 2:45 in St. Louis. We need BBN to show up because it didn't – I don't know if it was just where the mics were positioned at that game. Maybe it was the fact that Iowa State fans were there and they were cheering for Santa Clara, but it felt like the Santa Clara fan base had a lot more pop to it in that game. Almost felt like we were playing a road game. We need BBN to travel for this one because Iowa State's super close to St. Louis, and they've got a nice basketball contingent of fans. So BBN has to get there. But, Jake, we did get good news for us, not good news for Joshua Jefferson or Iowa State. I guess technically it's not official yet, but the coach basically all came out and said, like, yeah, we're going to do everything we can to get him on the court, but we just don't think it's probably going to happen. And that's their
Rothstein and Jeff Goodman both said they would be shocked if he played, and based on what they saw today.
He's scoring 16.5 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, and 5 assists. This guy affects every facet of the game and does it in a efficient manner. So for them not to have him, it's a huge break for the Cats. And now this is something we talk about all season leading up. You're going to get breaks during the season. You're going to take your own lumps. Like, we've had injury-riddled, season the entire year. It's about making the most of the opportunities you get. We said that we loved the draw that the Wildcats got on Selection Sunday. If I would have told you, hey, Iowa State loses their best player as well, it's shaping up for the Cats, and they really just have to go take advantage on Sunday.
Yeah, and I think they can. I mean, I don't know if I would have picked them to win with Jefferson playing, but, I thought it wasn't the worst matchup in the world, and everything we'd kind of talked about, last week after learning the draw. It stinks for the kid, man. You never want to see someone get hurt, especially in the tournament that early. But to your point, like, Kentucky's now got an opportunity where a game you probably were going to be anywhere from like a 6.5 to 8 point underdog, now you're, I think, a 4.5. I think the money continues to go to Kentucky because people know this. Like, it's opened up for you, and we've talked about how inconsistent this team's been all year. So will they take advantage of it or not? We'll see. But you're right there, and this is as good of a path to the Sweet 16 as you could have had.
That's where I'm at. Like, I'm looking at it, and I know we're playing a 2 seed, and I get that.
Yep.
We're still not the favorite even with this injury. It's as good as we could have asked for with how this season went. So, Jake, I'm gonna let you go first. Actually, you know what? No, I'll go first. You know what? I'm out here. I just watched a win. I need this to keep going because we keep this going. You and I might head down to Indy for a Final Four run.
Let's do it.
I'm going to talk that into existence because even then, Jake, Megan Maroney's performing in Indianapolis.
Couldn't pass it up.
So that's another reason for us to go. I'm going to ride the wave. I'm going to do it. I've got no reason not to. Why pick your team to lose in March?
Absolutely.
No, nobody's holding us to our predictions. I'm sure when we clip this out and we send it out, there's going to be somebody who's like, "Oh, look at these idiots! They thought Kentucky was going to win." Oh well, who cares? I'm going to forget what I said by tomorrow when I watch this game. But I got the Cats winning 81-76. I think this is a game you actually see the other guys step up. I think you see Yelovich knock down a couple of threes. Cam knocks down a couple of threes. And the X factor of the entire game, and really has been for this entire tournament, is Colin Chandler. Can he turn that 1 for 9 into 4 for 9?
I really wish I would have wrote this down, Cam, because my score was going to be Cats 81-77. So I'm right there with you. And then I was going to say also a huge bounce back MVP type performance from Colin Chandler. We're talking about him being the most important player. So, I mean, it's kind of scary again how much we're synced up mentally, but I really do think Kentucky finds a way to get it done. And for them to do it, I do think you're going to probably need 4 or 5 threes from Colin Chandler in this one. And I think he steps up and hits them as opposed to what we saw Friday.
Well, let's just say this. We were pretty close with our predictions on Friday. Let's just run it. Let's get a win. Kentucky needs it. You win this, you play basketball for a full another week. It gets us talking for another week. Because guess what? I'm not going to guarantee it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to guarantee it. This is a Charles Barkley guarantee. This women's team wins on Monday. And I don't want the women's team to be playing longer than the men's team. I want them to both keep going, so you and I have to scramble around to figure out when we're going to do these podcasts and how we're going to get them done.
Just for it. Let's figure it out. Let's figure out the chaos.
It doesn't matter how it happens. You mentioned it. You can score 35 and win. You can score 105 and win. Whatever it is, we just want these Cats to win. Jake, do you have anything else before I let you go enjoy this beautiful Saturday?
That's it, man. Let's just keep it rolling. You see, I mean, how often does it feel like a team makes a buzzer beater, a big time shot in the first round, and they're on the verge of their season ending, and they make one extra play, and next thing you know, they're showing that highlight as that team's getting ready to play in the Final Four. We saw it back in 2011 with Brandon Knight. Like, there's countless other teams that have done it. Let's do it, man.
All it takes is one play. You saw that. It changed Santa Clara's entire season and their outlook on this season. Let's just roll with it. And, of course, Jake, you and I are going to have all of Big Blue Nation covered when it comes to Kentucky men's basketball, Kentucky women's basketball, all of March Madness in its entirety. So make sure you like and subscribe to this video and the Cats Talk podcast. Until then, Big Blue Nation, go Cats. Let's find a way to win. Let's get both of these teams to the Sweet 16. Go Big Blue.
Go Big Blue.